The metal hinges of the apparatus on my head creaked as I rushed through the hall. I paused for 2 seconds to realign the mirror that swayed out of place. I couldn't afford to have any blind spots. There was one behind me. No face that I can see, only eyes. It didn't move. Good. I reached the end of the hall and ducked through an open door. I slammed it shut and pushed a nearby shelf in front of it. I scanned the room, adjusting the sheet of broken glass suspended before my face. There didn't appear to be any of them here. Good. I could finally rest for a while. This room was closed off. I felt safe enough to take the heavy thing off my head. I still couldn't remember how I got in this situation. One moment, I had been falling asleep in my hotel room. The next, I was in a van that had been backed into a wall. No way out, not even to the front seat. I hopped out and tried a window, but they were all boarded up or barred. Everywhere I looked, there was no way to leave this building. I couldn't even figure out what this building was. Every few rooms I passed, the layout would change dramatically. One moment, I'm in a ruined mansion. The next, I'm in an abandoned hospital. Then a few rooms later, it's a fenced-in playground that stretches on for a mile. Nothing about this place made any sense. Even worse were those things now hunting me. I saw one in my reflection by chance, and now all of them are after me. They never moved when I was looking at them, but the only way I could see them at all was through glass. That's why I made that haphazard contraption on my head. A pair of mirrors to see behind me, and a sheet of glass in front to see them ahead. The room was closed off, so I finally felt safe enough to take the heavy thing off my head. A few parts from the contraption were starting to warp or dent. Hopefully there would be suitable replacements in that isolated room. The room looked like an old garage, and there was a broken-down bike against the wall. I took a set of wire cutters off the wall rack nearby and started cutting the spokes from the bike's wheels. If I bundled them together, they could make a sturdy arm to hold my mirrors. Something clattered behind me. I quickly put my contraption on my head and looked back. There was a hole in the wall next to the door. I noticed it before, but it was small, so I didn't think about it much. Now, the clawed hand of one of those creatures stood stiff, reaching through the hole, bending at the elbow toward the door, as if trying to unlock it. Good thing I shoved a shelf in front of it. I used the mirrors to look around the room, seeking another way out without losing sight of the creature's arm. The only other possible exit was a large garage door, but it was locked with a chain. I spotted a set of bolt cutters in the corner. Perfect. I whipped around and rushed to grab them. While pinching the metal chain, I could hear the creature's arm hitting the shelf, trying to knock it away. The chain fell with a loud clatter, and I heaved the garage door open. The opening led to what looked like a medieval cellar, built with stone brick walls lined with large barrels and kegs. I ran through, not caring where I went, as long as it was away from any creatures. I ran for what felt like an hour. There's really no sense of time in this place, so I could only guess. I didn't run into any more of those things along the way, which only concerned me. In the garage room, I was isolated, so the absence of monsters made me feel safe. But then, I was in the middle of a winding maze of ale kegs, so that same absence made me feel like I was going to run into a bunch of those things all at once. My worst fear was met when I turned a corner and found myself staring into a grinning row of way too many teeth. And then, with the worst possible timing, I blinked.